Fatal Fury City of the Wolves is still suffering, and even though in this channel we criticize SNK for all the bad decisions they took around the game as a product, it still has a ton going for it. It is one of the best modern fighting games out there when it comes to gameplay, and the first DLC, Andy Bogart, is arguably one of the best redesigns of all time for an OG fighting game character, both in terms of visual and gameplay design. But that was not enough to make the game have a huge comeback. But do you know who has enough power and flames to resurrect this game and put it back on the map? Ken Masters, the golden boy from Capcom and Street Fighter, who is the next DLC for Fatal Fury. And I truly believe that if Ken is a Vanguard DLC, which is probably going to be, I'm pretty sure that we could see this game back on the table. And in this video, of course, we're gonna talk about the new Ken trailer that was just dropped at the Esports World Cup before Grand Finals by SNK, and discuss how he looks, his model, and also his move list, because I'm pretty confident that even though this is clearly a Street Fighter 6 Ken, SNK is going to surprise us with some, new stuff, or maybe returning to some older moves that Ken doesn't have on SF6, because I'm super confident that this trailer is not showing everything that he can do in the game. So let me know in the comments what you think of Ken, and let's get into it. And we first gotta talk about how Ken looks, right? Like, he's looking so good, dude. This is one of the best 2D renditions of Ken ever in any fighting game. He looks incredible. And I know that some people don't like the graphics on Fatal Fury, but maybe this is the best model for a character in the entire game. Like, there's a lot of work here, and you can see it in the trailer. So I think that he's looking super good. Even I would go ahead and say that he looks better than on SF6. I personally like the design of Ken on SF6, but I think the execution around it with the RE engine is not the best, and both the new and classic Ken in this trailer, to me, look better than the version of Ken on SF6 itself. So I think that SNK did a great job with Ken visually, and I gotta say that I want to see more. I want to see more about the character, just to kind of like get more ideas about how he looks when he does maybe other supers, because I don't think they show all the supers and maybe other moves and combos, but the character is looking really good. I think that is one of the best visual designs that there is in this game in terms of execution. And when we talk more, about the move list, it is very obvious that it is SF6 Ken. Like, he has the Jinrai kicks and the Dragon Lash and the Air EX, Fire Tatsu. Everything that Ken can do on Street Fighter 6 is probably going to be available on Fatal Fury. But for example, in the trailer, we don't see his run. On SF6, Ken can do a run, in which he can do then like a DP that has fire on it, or also a big kick that is like a button check, and that is not present on the trailer. And we didn't have a chance to see his rep blow in the ground. It's probably going to be the animation from Drive Impact, but I don't know if it's going to be exactly the same. But that is the closest thing that Ken has to, a rep blow in the ground on SF6, Drive Impact, because they are very similar mechanics. And the other thing is that I'm also confident that there is a chance, I don't know how big it is, but we might get some moves for Ken on Fatal Fury that are not present on SF6. Like, in the past, SNK has had other, like crossovers with Capcom, in which Ken has moves that are not present on the version that Ken has on Street Fighter 6, and let's actually explore that just for a moment. So in the trailer, for example, we only got to see one level 1 super, which was Shoryurepa, right? But what is gonna be the other level 1 super? Is it gonna be Shinryuken, and is Ken gonna go the classic route like on Capcom vs SNK2, or are we gonna go the third strike route like on SF6 and give Ken the iconic, kick super? I don't know what exactly is gonna happen. I would probably be happy with any of the two, to be honest, but the kick super is very famous at this point, so he's probably gonna get that as his other level 1 and level 2 super. Then, connected also to all of this, do we have any chance that Ken is going to have some violent Ken moves? Because technically, Ken has been on an SNK fighting game, which was SVC Chaos, in the same, time as Capcom vs SNK2 in that era. And violent Ken has moves that Ken doesn't have, like a teleport that is similar to the one that Akuma has, and he also has a different super. So is there any chance that something like that is gonna happen? Can we have some violent Ken moves in the Ken SF6 version of the move list that he has on Fatal Fury and SF6, or not really? And then we have another discussion and more options because of Street Fighter 5. Technically, the V triggers for Ken on SF5 are not present on Street Fighter 6. For example, one V trigger gave Ken like these special moves with fire and a power-up bonus, or like a buff. And of course, Ken has moves with fire on SF6, but they have conditions, like you get them out of the run, like Tatsu and DP, or as EX moves, not as normal special moves. So Are we gonna have something similar to V-Trigger 1 and 2 on Fatal Fury, like with, you know, the special buff for fire and special moves, and also the other anti-air that Ken had on SF5, which was technically a super in other games, and we already talked earlier, like, is that gonna be present on Fatal Fury or not really? So guys, I hope that you enjoyed the video. I just wanted to make a quick analysis of what's going on with Ken and his trailer, because I had, you know, like this feeling that on EWC we were going to get something for Ken. So I think that he looks amazing. I'm super excited for him in all the terms, you know, visually, for gameplay. So I hope that he plays super well, and he's super strong and it's very fun. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, subscribe, and leave a comment with what you think of Ken, and see you on the next one.
Look, I got my own problems.